Dark Satellite Media.
Cool. So we have Neil Rubenstein in the house today. How's your foot? I know that you had a little accident.
Yeah, it's banged up, man.
Can we see it?
No,
No, I don't want to see it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, man, it's so complicated. Like I needed to start a whole new podcast just to talk about how bummed I am about my ankle.
Which is what you're doing, right? Tell us about that.
Does it get better? Is
Okay.
the name of the podcast? We're on like week 4 now. It airs live Mondays at 3 p.m. On govsradio.com, and then it archives on like all your places on Fridays.
Okay.
And it's like I guess we're calling it a mental health podcast. Basically, my buddy Rich just talks me out of suicide once a week, and
how's he doing so far?
what?
How's he doing so far?
He's killing it, man. He's, I want to live,
Okay, cool. All right. I mean, he made you play the guitar too. I see. How many songs have you written?
I haven't written any, but I can play "Come as You Are."
Okay.
And that one Hives song.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
that one.
Yo, the Hives are fucking. People sleep on the Hives, but man, you put on any one of their records, it's fucking like just like it's toe tapping. They're like the Stones with distortion.
So I had like when I toured with Rival Schools, the Hives opened. The Hives were one of 3, and we were playing like 150 person rooms.
Wow.
And it was like right before they broke, but like we played wherever we played, like we played LA, and like Courtney Love and Johnny Depp were at the show. Like people knew they were going to be a big deal. Like it was crazy.
Did they have the suits back then?
Yeah. Their whole career, they knew what to do.
Yeah.
It was funny because the middle band was International Noise Conspiracy, and they also dress up. They also have like uniforms.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Like the backstage just reeked every day because it was just like 10 sweated in.
Yes. I know the deal. And that's fucking Dennis from Refuse, right?
Dennis the Refuse. Yeah, that band's sick too.
I love his new band with Brian Baker, Fake Names.
I haven't heard them.
They're one of the honorable mention. Well, actually, there was a lot of records. What we're going to talk about today is favorite rock records, which, we're happy to have you talk with us. They're probably top 15 albums, but man, it's really good. It's Brian Baker and fucking Dennis, and they wrote this record, and it's super catchy.
I'm looking at it now. It's on Epitaph.
Yeah, it's so good. Brian Langan, did you like the Fake Names album? Did you hear that?
I did not hear it. No.
It's so good.
I can't believe I missed this. I love him.
Yeah, it's very good. It has like it's more Hives than it is Refused, for sure.
Oh, so it's probably very International Noise Conspiracy.
Kind of, but not really. It's a little bit more pop.
We're recording right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, because we're gonna do favorite rock records, and then eventually we got to get Jake on to do favorite hip hop records, which is funny because I set the meeting. This is my first Zoom thing that we're doing, and I set it for 3 hours, but hopefully we could do everything before it cuts off, because I guess I would have to invite everyone over again.
Are you releasing this in like 2 or 3 parts, or?
I'll probably split it up in 2. I'll probably do like the first 2 parts, and then a week later, because I'm not going to edit a fucking 4-hour podcast. But we're at 2 so far. But so let's
I separated metal and hardcore from rock and other.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, for me it's hard to like compare like if it's the best metal record, I can't really like. I don't know. It's not the same. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just. Listen, at the end of the day, this is just dumb shit that we're doing for a fucking podcast, so whatever. But Langan and I had this discussion that we didn't really listen to a lot of like heavy music this year, right?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know if it was a reflection on me where I was at, like what I wanted to listen to, or I noticed though a lot of like I listened to. I'm not speaking on the show, but I've been posting in the group a lot of synthwave acts and pop, and I feel like music groups that didn't have or electronic bass and didn't have to get a band together were very productive this year.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
Yeah,
which
is why our hip hop list is so big.
Forget it.
But
I'm working on it.
I think it's also like just I didn't want like I didn't want to hear chaos. I wanted to hear something different, like. I just didn't want chaos. There was something maybe subliminally, like subconsciously, I didn't want I'm like, there's a bunch of crazy shit going on. Like I need to like chill. I can't be like listening to like the new Testament album too much.
That definitely was where I was at.
I think the only change in my listening habits was like I stopped listening to podcasts. Like just because I wasn't on the
except this one though, right?
Like for some reason, podcast is like a while I'm driving thing, and
Me
music
too.
is a while I'm sitting around doing nothing. Like I don't know.
I get that.
Maybe I respect music more than I respect people. So like I want to devote myself to listening to music.
Yeah.
Whereas like podcast is like while I'm doing other stuff.
Yeah, like if I'm like doing dishes or like vacuuming, like I'm like, all right, I'll do this. Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about our top 10 favorite rock records of the year.
Okay.
So let's do like rapid fire 10 to 6 with Neil.
I'm gonna do the bottom 5 is gonna be metal.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Do whatever you want.
So I'm going to say that number 10, and we're doing honorable mentions afterward?
No, so the you can do honorable mentions afterwards. Yeah, for sure. So like, this will be your 10. So 10 to 6, and then we'll round robin 5 to 1.
10 is going to be, today's the day, No Good to Anyone. It's the new Today's the Day album. It's, aside from Animal Mother, it's probably their best record since Temple of the Morning Star. He definitely like returns to that more metally sound, and his vocals are crazy again. I'm a big fan of them always. The first 2 records, Supernova and Willpower, were totally like different than anything anyone had heard at the time, and then he kind of got like metal, but this one kind of has some of that early like weirdness in it, and I really appreciated it.
All right, very cool. So for everyone listening, after we do this sometime today or tomorrow, just message me your 10, because then I'm gonna put together the Spotify playlist for all the we'll pick a song for each record, and then we'll put it out with the episode. So 10 through 6, keep going.
Oh, I go straight through?
Yeah, go straight through, because then we're going to round robin 5 through 1.
Jeez. I got to get Gulch on there, Impenetrable Cerebral Fortress. They're like a kind of crazy hardcore band, but very metal. They're unbelievable. They have a lot of hype too, and it's totally they deserve the hype. It's super cool. 8, Jesus fuck. 8 is gonna be Hellripper. It's kind of like if the Helicopters played very good death metal.
And it's one guy.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
I love the name. It's so cool.
Hellripper, yeah. It sounds like Hellripper would sound.
Yeah.
Like Hellripper.
Yeah. It's like, let's just put together these 2 words, but then you have to deliver, which I guess he did.
Today's the day. Gulch, Hell Ripper, 2 left.
Mention whatever you want, man. It's all honorable mentions. You don't be
No, this
Okay,
is
the number.
So then,
this is top.
okay, so then, Faceless Burial, their album's Speciation is very good. They're like a death metal band, and then Necrot, the Mortal album, is really good. And then I want to definitely give honorable mention to Winterfilleth, The Reckoning Dawn, which is like an atmospheric black metal.
Yeah, that's good.
Like, they're one of my favorite bands in that genre. I just didn't love this record as much as I loved the last record, and there had been so much good metal that came out this year. It's hard to get them on the list.
Wow, we were
And then also I'm going to do honorable mention for Drain, this like straight up hardcore band from California. I think this is their debut release, and they're super good too.
Okay. So Langan, let's do 10 through 6 for you.
I'm looking at my list here. What? All right. We'll mention Napalm Death, The Throes of Joy, blah blah blah. That long title. Not always a fan of. I don't like grindcore and noise shit too much. You know what I mean? But
We're offending our guest.
This album was a little more complete. The songs were much more complete, and I mean, I love Napalm Death. Don't get me wrong. If I'm gonna listen to that style, they're the ones I go to. But I love their effort this year. Carcass, it was just an EP, but that was fantastic because Carcass was one of my favorite death metal bands, and they took a long time off since they've come back a couple of years ago. Have been outstanding. Band called 1000 Mods.
Oh, super good.
Yeah, I don't know how they got on my radar initially, and I don't know what to describe. I guess if you were in like the stoner vein, that kind of
Mathy?
yeah, they kind of dip their toe in a lot of waters and stuff, but they're fantastic. Everything they put out has been fantastic. Nothing to like get my top 5, but like they're always solid and steady. And that was called Youth of Descent. I will also shout out the last Flaming Lips effort this year, which I don't know if Sam might mention that later.
I will.
But I will also say the Testament's album that they put out this year, which was earlier. Testament, pound for pound. I mean, you talk about the big 4 all the time and stuff like that, but Testament might be the most consistent thrash band ever. Like they're still putting out stuff that sounds just to the caliber of their early thrash stuff. They don't really they don't vary the formula. They don't take they don't make load, basically. They don't do Seasons in the Abyss, which I like, you know what I mean? But is it different?
No haircuts either. Let's be honest.
No haircuts. And Chuck Billy probably is the best thrash singer in history. I think he's got incredible range and just balls behind his voice. Like,
remember when he stole your weed?
He stole my weed, but we're cool like that. You know what I mean? He stole my weed at the Crazy Donkey. I mean, I'll tell the story real quick in case nobody heard it. When I was hanging out with Testament by the bus after they played a reunion show, got my Legacy album autographed by the whole original band. Chuck Billy just had recovered from cancer, and we're hanging out. I'm Alex Golden. Goes back on the bus, and Chuck's like, "Yo, anybody got any weed here?" I was like, "Yo, I got some, man." So I ran back to my car, the Donkey. I grabbed the bag, maybe like an eighth or whatever the fuck, and I bring it back, figuring we're gonna go on the bus and go, roll it up. And he's just like, "Thanks, man." And he puts it in his pocket. And he gets on the bus. They're off to the next town. And I'm sitting there,
Stunned you.
back in my car on the LIE. But I got to shout out their last effort because that was amazing. And real quick, I know I'm going over my numbers, but the Paul Bearer EP was insane. That was really great. And Miss Piss. I'm called Self Surgery. With Chelsea Wolfe, and I can't remember who else is in that project, but and I also and Emma Ruth Rundle did an album with Thou this year, which is fantastic too. So
I hear that's good. My
I
friend
like that you're like, oh, I haven't been listening to a lot of heavy music this year.
I know. This is what happens. Bro.
It does,
Like
yeah.
this,
Like,
Piss
wait a
Testament.
minute. You don't even know how glad I am to be done with when we're done with this show because I've
Yeah.
been like agonized.
We labor over it every year like idiots. Parker, 10 through 6.
All right, so 10 through 6. So
Floor punch.
yeah,
Bunch.
so 5 new bands that I never actually, well, not new to me, actually made my top 10. So that's pretty cool this year. So number 10, I went with this band. I think it's their 5th album called Soft Kill, and completely something that I wouldn't really listen to, but just it hooked me and I dug it. It's kind of like post-punk or sad rock. They're from Oregon, I think, originally. I don't know where the hell they're from now, but the name of the album is called Dead Kids Rest in Peace City. And like I said, I think it's their 5th album. They're called Soft Kill. Number 9 is something that I would listen to, and they're kind of like an all-star band called Kill or Be Killed. So this is members of Dillinger, Mastodon, Converge, and my boy that gave me a cameo shout out for my birthday, Max Cavalera from Sepultura.
That was awesome.
That was such a good cameo.
Yeah. So now the thing with this is, like, I'm not really a big Dillinger guy. I'm probably one of the only people that really don't like Dillinger. Mastodon, I'm into. Converge, I love. And Sepultura, Max Cavalera era, I love. This is the second album. The first one came out in 2014, and this one definitely seems like it's an actual band. It's, it's more focused. It's not just a side project anymore. Like they're actually writing songs like together, which is pretty cool. Number 8, I had to throw in a fucking Long Island band because I love shouting out Long Island bands. And same thing, like, you would not think that I would like this band. I dug their first album, and this thing was just as good, if not better. And that was Somerset Thrower, Paint My Memory.
Yeah, very good.
And I've seen them live. They put on a fucking great live show. And, judging by what I normally listen to, I shouldn't like this band, but there's just something about them that just fucking hooks me in. So number 7 is another, I think, newish band that just released something, and it's called Every Scar Has a Story. And this is actually Rob Fish from 108, his new band. And one of the dudes from You and I. And same thing, 2 bands that I like, but doesn't really sound like either one of their bands. I mean, I think it's only a 3-song that they released, but I dug it. I mean, they recorded it, the whole thing during COVID. Doesn't sound like either band, but just what Rob Fish, like his vocal approach to this, I definitely hooked me in. And then number 6, this fucking album came out of nowhere, which was pretty cool. I didn't even know that this thing was coming out. I don't know if anybody knew that this thing was coming out, and this was their 4th album. And I remember the first time that I saw this band's first album, I just remember the cover, and it was green with a fucking zebra on it. And I'm like, what the fuck is this band?
Yeah.
And that was the new Hum that came out, and this thing just fucking floored me, man. I mean, heavy as hell, melodic, and just, I fucking loved it.
Yeah,
Yep.
super good.
That'll make an appearance later on my list. So for me, man, so many great records, but whatever. My list is definitely 10 through 6 is going to be a little different than everyone else's. Old 97s put out a record called 12th. They're one of my favorite bands. In 2017, they put out my favorite record of that year. This record is nowhere near as good as that record. I just don't like the acoustic being used so prominently, but the songs are still great. The Flaming Lips, American Head. I think they're one of those bands, like, I always say, like, you take Radiohead, and Radiohead is so experimental, but I feel like everything that they try fucking sucks. And, like, if my band released King of Limbs, we would be laughed out of every show that we've ever played.
Sometimes it works, though. Like when they did Kid A, that was experimental.
No, okay.
That's my favorite Radiohead record.
Those first 4 records are fucking great up to Kid A. But then you take
Today's the best one, brah.
You take the Flaming Lips. Even when they try things that miss with me, they're always pushing things forward. But it just, I don't know. There's something about just the shit that they do. The fact that they had a 24-hour song, like shit that just doesn't land with me sometimes. I still appreciate it because it just they're so fucking creative. And American Head is a really cool return back to their form, I think, like early
That's what I thought.
stuff. You know, almost like a little Pink Floyd-ish in parts.
Definitely.
Songs. So number 8 is a group called Group Love. The record is called Healer. Very fun, very cool band. One of my favorite debut records of all time. When they first came out, this record is just fun. Really, it has like a Cure vibe at times because it's so bass driven. Just really fun songs. Group Love, Healer. Number 7 is a band that sometimes could do no wrong, and that's Nothing. The Great Dismissal. I still think Tired of Tomorrow is basically their masterpiece. It's also like the cleanest record that they've done. But once again, this is just a great record, you know, very throwback to like Creation Records type sound, like that whole stable of bands. And then number 6 is one of my favorite songwriters of the last 10 years, Jason Isbell, has a record called Reunions, and it's fucking great. It's not his best record. Southeastern is his best record, in my opinion, but this record is top 10 material. So moving forward.
Before we go on, I missed one honorable mention. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard did an album, KG. They're a psychedelic rock band out of Australia, I believe, and fantastic record.
Okay. Oh, and one more honorable mention for me, which I forgot, which was Deftones Ohms, which I'm sure will make an appearance on Parker's list later on.
Yeah, it might.
Okay, so Neil, now we're getting to the number 5, so we're going to do the round robin from here. Give me your number 5 album of 2020.
All right. This is impossible.
Give me a good one.
I'm going to go with, I'm giving 2 EPs.
Sure.
Because I felt like I didn't want to waste a slot on an EP.
Understood.
So this is 2 different EPs. This is No Bro, the Sick Hustle EP, and this girl, Remy Wolf, I'm Allergic to Dogs. Remy Wolf is kind of dancey. There's like a commercial, maybe an Apple commercial, the hello, hello, hello. You know that one? I don't know. No. Remy Wolf's like it's more pop.
Okay.
And No Bro is like fun rock and roll stuff. But they're both EPs, and they're both awesome.
Okay, cool. Welcome. Langan, give me your number 5 album of 2020.
I hate that this band is so good because every time they put something out, they're in my list for the finals, and I still can't pronounce them right. I think Kvelertak.
Oh, it's Verlatek.
Yeah, whatever you said. Splid. They got a new singer who also put out a solo record this year. Very good solo record, but in the Viking metal form. But didn't make my list. But the band is still firing on all cylinders. There's some great collabs with the guy from Mastodon and a couple of different things in it. Troy Sanders, he did a track with them. They're still. I like them because they're a great hard rock band that doesn't really. They play heavy as fuck, but they can also do shit like I know on previous records, like that song 1985 or whatever. Yeah. They'll shift gears all over the place, and that's kind of like with King Gizzard that I mentioned earlier. They're like that. They don't subscribe to a particular sound. Okay. But a great hard rock band, super fun, and every time they put something out, it's outstanding. So.
You know, I'm mad ignorant because they sound cool, and I like that 1985 song, and I just
their songs are in different languages.
Yeah,
you don't like that.
Which is funny because like I love Crime Apple, who's like super bilingual when he does his hip hop.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I often wonder, I wonder if people relate to this stuff that has so much Spanglish. I don't know if it connects as much. You know,
I get what you're saying. I'm not like a big lyric guy as much as I used to be, like when I was younger. So they're screaming about some shit. I don't give a fuck. Like if the melody's proper and it rocks, I'm there. Like I'll deal with the barrier. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, like we didn't start the fire, but like in another language, it just wouldn't connect.
oh yeah, I love
I
Parker.
still
Loves
want to
that
fucking
song.
gouge my eyes out with that language. It's in.
That's his favorite song.
Yo, Parker, give me your number 5 album of 2020.
Okay, so another new band that I never heard of. You know, I found this through New Music Fridays for Spotify. This is supposedly their 5th studio album. They're labeled as Turbo Thrash. They're from England, and that's this band called Silosis.
Yeah.
The album is Cycle of Suffering, and this thing is fucking good, man. It's fast, it's heavy. There's fucking, I'm sure, a ton of fucking hair twirling and fucking solos.
Yo, dude, go in their back catalog. If you like that, you're
Yeah.
gonna love the rest of their shit. Really
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna check that shit out. Yeah, this fucking band fucking took
They
me
broke
in, and
up.
I fucking
They
loved it.
broke up and got back together to put that record out. They were
Yeah, that
broken
shit
up
fucking
for a while.
wails. I loved it.
Yeah, great guitar player.
You know, for as evil as Spotify can sometimes be, you know, towards artists, their curation and their functions and certain things that they give you.
Just pay the people a little more, please, because your service is amazing.
Yeah.
I'll pay another $1 a month if it
You
helps.
could have told me it cost $50 and I would have paid $50 a month for sure.
Worth every penny.
Worth every penny.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I agree, but I don't want to pay $50 a month.
This is official, what we're recording. It goes
I'll edit that out, basically.
This is on Spotify.
Okay, I meant 50.
That could make us trend, though. Spotify announces $49.99 membership.
Started by
Per comedian Neil Rubenstein.
Yeah. Number 4 album of 2020, Neil.
Number 4 album. You guys heard of Illuminati Hotties?
Love them.
No.
Dude, this record, I guess she was trying to get out of a record deal. So this was like a thrown together record. But so she kind of does it with a sense of humor that's not on the last record. That actually makes this record way better than her other stuff.
Huh.
Like, if this was, like, her last record wouldn't have made my top 10 for sure. But this record was, like, just so much more fun.
What kind of music?
Indie rock? It's rocking.
Okay.
Rock. It's on the top 5 rock.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it's a little quirky. Super smart. Super good. Great melodies. Just like a lot of fun, like a really fun.
I love the name.
Yeah, Illuminati Hotties.
Yeah.
I think it's just one girl. I think it's just one lady.
Is there a song called 5G?
I think so now.
Okay, good. All right, Langan, number 4 album of 2020.
Bob Mould's Blue Hearts.
Oh, that's a good one. You know what? That's a good one. I forgot. As big of a Mold fan. Go ahead.
You know what? It was such a. I mean, first of all, you talk about the great American songwriters, and everyone talks about Bob Dylan and this and that. Bob Mould is right there. Bob Mould has been consistently putting out amazing music his entire life, and one of the best songwriters I've ever heard. And this song, I mean, this album in particular, really had a Husker Du feel to it.
Yeah,
you know?
it came back. He came back very strong with this for sure.
Yeah, and it's just, it's got the great melodies and everything you'd be accustomed to with him. And this doesn't disappoint, but this scratched that Husker Du itch for me.
Yeah, good.
It's
one.
outstanding. It's great, like everything he does.
Yeah, a lot of good like political commentary as well too. He's very angry.
Yeah, very topical. Yep.
Very topical. Parker, give me your number 4 album of 2020.
Number 4 is another band that I just discovered. But
Wait, what happened to his voice?
Yeah, what happened to your voice?
I don't know what happened.
Calling it in.
Is it better?
You sound like you're in like Iraq or something.
No, I don't know. Nothing's changed.
Okay, I'll figure it. Yeah, I'll clean it up.
Okay. Number 4 is the 7th album from this band that I just found on New Music Fridays. They're from Germany, and I think you pronounce it Niera. Do you know this band, Langan?
Yeah.
No.
It's like Neaera. They're from Germany.
No.
Yeah. that era. I guess that's how I'll pronounce them. Anyway, very Swedish sound, definitely like Inflamish, soil workish. Vocals are definitely way heavier though. So if you're a fan of anything, from that Swedish European sound, definitely check them out. It's self-titled. Their 7th album.
It kind of reminds me almost of like stuff that would have come out of like the Huntington YMCA in '97.
Okay, I'll take that. I dig that.
Yo, I skipped myself for number 5, didn't I?
Oh shit! What's going on, man?
I keep skipping myself. All right, so I'll jump in real quick here. So I'm gonna do I have 2 at number 5 because I couldn't leave one of these out. One of them is Jeff Rosenstock. The record is called No Dream. This dude is just such a great songwriter. Like, it's disgusting. He's one of those people that consistently, like, I didn't really like his older band, which is Bombing the Music Bombing the Music Industry. But once he started making these solo records, he has this thing where it's like Neutral Milk Hotel type production with like Weezer Pinkerton production, mixed in with just great songwriting. And anytime he makes a record, it seems to make my top 5. And sharing the bill at number 5, just because I couldn't get rid of it, is the Smashing Pumpkins double record, which is really, really good. But there's 20 fucking songs. Now, it sounds like Depeche Mode. And honestly, if I could pick 10 songs out of, and not even 12, there's 12 to 14 really, really good fucking songs that sound like fucking Depeche Mode. That's what it sounds like. It's so fucking good. And then, so, to bring me up to speed with you guys at number 4, that's what you're up to number 3 right now, right, Neil?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so then my number 4 is Idols, Ultramono. Definitely the best 2 live shows I saw last year. The popularity of this band is just amazing because they're so abrasive. They're so fucking like hammered to the head. The music sounds like Drive Like J.U. And it's just so good. And this record, they came back, and it's their first record in 3 years. And every song on it is great. They tried a lot of production ideas. I think they worked with like a hip hop producer on this, which you could hear. But the opening track is it's probably the best opening track on any record this year, as far as I'm concerned. It's called War. And it's fucking chaos. And I love the chaos of their music. I love this, just the guitar, like everything about it is just fantastic. Such a good band. Neil, give me your number 3 album.
Okay, number 3 is this band called Western Addiction. The album is called Frail Bray. I guess this is like album number 3 or 4 for them. It's on Fat Records, but to me, it sounds more like a Circus Lupus or a Menorchid if they had signed to Fat Records. Like, I don't know. I'm not familiar with their past albums, so I don't know if it's like they've matured or if they always sounded like this. But to me, it's like part punk, but part like just noisy and like aggressive, and it's super political. It's like political where like it goes over my head, like the way Propaganda does.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's really it blew me away. It really blew me away. It's called Frail Bray is the name of the album.
That's cool. I never even heard of it. I gotta check it out. We're gonna throw all these songs up on the playlist, as many as I could find. That way when you listen to this episode, you will be able to reference with the Spotify playlist. So Langan, give me your number 3 album of 2020.
My number 3 was Mr. Bungle's The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny demo.
Okay.
Which I guess is a re-recording of some previous material. But I knew the second I was never a big Mr. Bungle fan. Love Faith No More. Mike Patton, every project he puts out. I like Tomahawk probably better than Mr. Bungle. It's all different, But this did not sound like a Mr. Bungle record, I knew from the second I heard it, I could tell Scott Ian's riffs and sound, and I knew that was Lombardo playing drums. I didn't know much about the project to begin with, and it basically sounds like the SOD, the follow-up to SOD's Speak English or Die. To me, the riffs are just fat, tasty, really killer stuff, and Mike Patton's always amazing. But
why would they name it Mr. Bungle then? I don't know.
I do not get that, and I've been trying to look up what the reasoning for it, because you could have named it. How many bands is Mike Patton in? I mean,
Cross.
Got Ian too.
Yeah.
Phantomos or whatever it's called. I mean, there's a million of them. There are a million of them. Not to mention the stuff he does just on his own name. So
Yeah.
I don't know why it was called a Mr. Bungle record, but man. This album, if you like thrash metal and crossover and stuff like that, this album just plays. It's ridiculous. So good.
I love thrash, and I didn't really think to listen to it as much as I love Scott Ian, Dave Lombardo, Mike Patton. It's just once I saw Mr. Bungle attached to it, I'm like, oh, it's not something that I'm going to want to listen to.
I don't like Mr. Bungle, so I listen to everything that comes out every Friday. I'm in there at work. I put everything in my Spotify playlist. I play everything, blah blah blah. And then I was expecting like, I'll listen to a couple of tracks or whatever, but it just kept coming at me. And like I said, the riffs that Scotty Ian have on here is SOD.
I gotta listen to
SOD record.
Yeah.
And SOD is just tasty riff after tasty riff. So
very cool. All right, I gotta check that out. Parker, give me your number 3 album of 2020.
Number 3 is another band just discovered. Thankfully to New Music Friday, and they're from Chicago, and it's this band called Huntsman. And definitely the proggiest thing that I've listened to this year. And it even has a little sprinkle of folk music, which is pretty crazy. And I don't know if there's 7 people in this band or fucking
And you didn't
10
shut it off
people.
when that part came on?
No, I dug it. I actually dug it. I don't know if it was a fucking ukulele or what the fuck the guy was doing in there. But the only band that I could kind of say that, is similar to this is that band Tombs, if you guys know that band Tombs at all. But it's definitely progressive, and Mandala of Fear is the album, and the band was Huntsman, and I dug it.
All right, very cool. So number 3. My number 3 is definitely something that seems to be fitting in with all your picks. The Killers, Imploding the Mirage. This is the best Killers record since Sam's Town. I love this band. I think that they write amazing songs. There's not many bands that write stadium fucking music. And this is one of those bands. And I think this is like the best record that they put out in a very long time. And I listened to it from the time it came out all the way till now. It still sounds good to me. And I love this record. It would have been number 1 if the other 2 records on my list didn't come out. So the Killers.
The other 2 records didn't come out.
Yeah. Well, the other 2 just came out, and I was like, oh, these are better records, I think. But it's just, I love the sound, man. I love that. And I'm bummed out because I never got to see them live. They're one of those bands that I've loved forever, and they were going to play MSG October 2nd and October 3rd, and Johnny fucking Marr was going to open up.
Ooh.
I know, and I'm like, damn. So little thing, little COVID happened. So moving on, number 2 album of 2020, Neil.
This, I don't even know what genre this is. It's Jacob Collier. The album is Jesse Volume 3. This kid's like a jazz prodigy, I guess. The songs are like pop, but like the most complex arrangements and progressions, and the kid's like a prodigy. Like the kid's like if you know who Jacob Collier is, you like, I don't need to do this. If you don't know who he is, please check him out. He's like so there's a video of him talking to Herbie Hancock about music theory, and he says something that blows Herbie Hancock's mind. Like, that's how like prolific this kid is. He's just a genius.
Is this Mark Blum approved?
I don't know. I don't think it's up Mark Blum's alley. This is just, I don't know. This is just an unbelievable.
How did you discover him?
Oh, because I watch piano memes on YouTube.
That'll do
And
it.
one of the jazz guys who does piano memes was like raving about him. So I checked him out and like it blew my mind. It just and the songs on this album are pop. They're like he's got like a song with Ty Dolla $ign. Like it's unbelievable. He was on, I think he was on Jimmy Kimmel or something during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so he like did a version of his song where he played it in the bathroom and he just overlaid like a drip of water and tapping the side of the tub, like all these sound, a plunger.
Yeah.
And then also like a little piano, like a little
just like layered it. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing when you think of like how you discovered this guy. The way that people discover music now, like you're doing something like looking at piano memes, and then you come across this guy. It's like it's so hard to be heard because there's so many people that do what like musicians do. But it is funny to just randomly come across someone that maybe no one on the planet would have ever heard of.
Well, this guy, he's big. He's got a really huge fan base. Like he plays like 1,500 person rooms.
Okay.
But it's just not. It wouldn't have been on my radar. Like it.
Let's hope Red River Podcast will put him over the edge dimension.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never know where you're going to hear about. Hey, you know what? Let me check that out, and it could be like your favorite thing.
It could make number 2 on your favorite albums.
Yeah.
It could have been number 1 if, like you said, if number 1 didn't come out.
Number 1 didn't exist.
It really.
My number 3 could have been number 1 if number 1 and number 2 didn't come out.
This was. This was number 1 the whole year. This was number 1 the whole year until number 1 came out.
Oh shit!
That's how I felt about the Killers.
That's fine.
It came out in like January. So okay. So Langan, give me your number 2.
You mentioned as an honorable mention, but I have nothing. Great Dismal. Everything these guys put out, they do no wrong with me. They're always in my mentions at the end of the year. I think it just has to be. I grew up with metal. I love shoegaze too, and this trend of these bands blending those kind of styles of a heavier shoegaze, like right up my alley.
They blend it well. They're children of My Bloody Valentine, but also like a lot of other good stuff,
Totally. I mean, it's not, they're not inventing a new genre, but they're kind of bands like this, Alcest. There's a couple of them that are just, obviously the Deftones too, but it makes sense for me. And Famine Asylum in particular on this album is one of my favorite songs of the year.
Yeah.
But they just, I don't know, the music makes perfect sense to me.
Yep. For sure. Parker, give me your number 2 album of the year.
All right. So funny enough, last episode we were talking about, we did that whole Ford Fairlane thing, and we were saying, do you remember the first time you watched the movie? And I couldn't remember.
We're getting huge numbers on that Fairlane episode.
Good, I'm glad. This band, I can't remember the first time that I heard them because I had never heard anything that fucking sounded like this before. And they released an EP that Langan talked about, and it's Carcass. And, it's only 2 of the original members, but whatever. I'm not going to fucking hold, the fucking asshole card that it's not, the 4 guys or whatever. I was lucky enough to see this band, when they came through probably about 3 or 4 years ago now when Surgical Steel came out. And you wouldn't even know that it's only 2 of the original guys. Like the 2 guys, that came in are fucking, just as talented as the original guys. And the cool thing is, obviously, if this whole COVID thing ever gets, contained or whatever,
it won't.
Carcass and Arch Enemy are actually touring together in Europe next year, and the other guitarist, Michael Ammett, is in Arch Enemy. So you know damn well he's gonna fucking get up there and do a couple songs with them in Europe. So
you're going to Europe?
no,
We're all going to have to go to Europe to go to
Yeah.
shows because America's stupid.
no.
That's it.
We're not
But
going to
anyway,
be allowed to go.
Carcass Despicable EP. That's my number 2.
When Neil goes out on tour to Europe, we'll just follow him.
Dude, let's do it.
All right.
We'll mooch off the writer up, in Europe, and then from there we'll hit a festival.
Film you. We'll call it a documentary.
I'll even wear a fucking Hives suit. I don't give a shit.
I would like this to happen.
Yeah, all right. Cool. All right. So my number 2 is Hum Inlet.
Nice.
Wow.
So good. So
Fucking wow. Like, okay, how many bands drop an album 22 years later and still sound like that record could have come out like that? Just it could have come out 22 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it's somehow they drop this record and you listen to it and you're like, this is exactly what you sound like, only better produced. The songs are still amazing. The guitar tone, everything about it. Like if you're a Hum fan and this came out, like, because when you think of like bands that tried that, At the Drive-In tried that, and that record was pretty good too. Refuse tried that. Like these records that come out 20 years later. And it's like, okay, this is good. It kind of like the same sound, but this is a fucking Hum record.
Man, I couldn't agree with you less.
Oh, really? All right, tell me.
No, like as a Hum fan, this is their 4th best record.
Oh, wow. Really? That 2000 record is so terrible.
World Star. Go at it.
Really? Why didn't you like it, though?
I don't know. It felt boring. Like the difference between You Prefer an Astronaut and Downward is Heavenward, like they got like more complex, and then it felt like this record took like their dynamics theory, but then didn't mess with structure at all. You know what I mean? It just went like
very linear.
Yeah. Just like it just went soft to big without any like
cool like when you hear Pod.
Dude, when you hear that when you listen to You Prefer an Astronaut, it takes you on such a journey.
It is, I mean, that's their best record.
That's their best record, hands down.
Yeah.
And it felt like Inlet was like tried to recapture something that they shouldn't have. You know what I mean?
No, I get it, but like, sometimes like let's say you have this like missing relative and he's gone for 22 years and he shows up and he's kind of like an amputee and he's, his breath is kind of shitty and you're just like, you know what? It's like, yo, you're here and that's all that matters. And you kind of look the same.
Yo, I'm not poo-pooing it. Like, I'm not trying to yuck your yum. I just want to have a discourse.
I'm just saying, I'm just glad you're here.
I don't even know really Hum at all, but I'm enjoying this.
I think
Hum, did they do that song Stars, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I only know it from the Howard Stern show because he knew that song. That was his favorite song for like 2 weeks.
He still brings it up. He's like, hey, whatever happened to that band? They had that one song. Whatever happened? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, they
He made a new record, and they could actually probably use your promotion. But go ahead.
And they hated him when they did that performance too.
Did they?
They did, yeah.
Why they're on the Howard Stern show?
Why?
Yeah. Oh my God! It's like this famous like they because K-Rock was pushing that song and they did a live performance and I'll send you the link. It's up on YouTube. Very funny.
What they hate about it though? They're getting the.
I think they were just he was Stern is a radio guy and he talks about hits and he doesn't like. He was way more obnoxious to guests back then,
right.
Now he's just very mindful.
But in retrospect, it was probably good for a career move.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Here I am not knowing that band, but I remember that Howard liked it for 2 weeks.
I would kill to have one song people remember.
I get to Richard Christie.
So yeah, that's my number 2. So let's do number 1, man. Neil Rubenstein, what is your number 1 album of 2020? And please don't say something terrible.
This album came out a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. No, I think it came out I think it came out in like early December. It might only be out 2 weeks, dude.
Taylor
This
Swift,
record is
right?
so good. Yo, when this record came out, the first week, it's all I listened to, like on repeat, constantly. Red City Radio.
Oh yeah.
The album is called Paradise.
Yeah.
Yo, I know they have a big catalog. I know people like them already. I had met them a few times. They were super nice guys.
Yes.
And my buddy produced the record, so I was like, all right, let me check it out. Yo, not a sleeper on the... Yo, it is banger after banger. Every song's a hit. The guy writes the illest melodies.
Yes.
Yo, I don't think I'm capable of liking an album more than I like this album.
Did you listen to any of the other albums?
No. I heard one other song by him, and it was just because Mikey went like 2 years ago. I had gone out to Mikey's, and we were driving, and he was like, "Oh, I just recorded this song for my buddy."
Yeah.
Oh well, I met him, so he was there.
Uh-huh.
And then we got in the car to like go get burgers. Tucker's, shout out to Tucker's in Oklahoma City, and he was the onion burger. Oh my God, it's just so good. And he was like, "Yo, you want to hear the song we just recorded?" And it was that song "Dead Body" by Garrett. And he put it in, and I was like, "Oh, this is a fun song. This is a cool song."
Yeah. It's got a
Never
great
thought
voice.
about it again.
Yeah.
Ran into him. I was going to see Taking Back Sunday. They were open for Taking Back Sunday. I ran into him backstage like, "Oh, hey, you're the guy from Mikey's." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, you're the guy from Mikey's." And that was it. And then, dude, this album is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
It's in my top 15. I didn't really get a chance to listen to because it just came out. And I really like the older stuff a lot. This is great too, but you know, I'm that guy on this one, but I need more time with it.
You know, I feel like with a lot of bands, maybe you guys can like concur or argue that when a band has a large catalog, the album that's contemporary to you getting into them is your favorite album. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Like Rocket from the Crypt existed before I got into Rocket from the Crypt, but then Hot Charity came out and it introduced me to them. So that's always going to be my favorite Rocket from the Crypt album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? Like,
No, absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, you know, I listened to some of it, like half of it, and I think there's some bangers on there, but I need a little bit more time with it. So.
No, it is wall-to-wall bangers.
Yeah, Garrett's a great songwriter, so I'm sure eventually, you know, once it just came out. Like I feel like it just came out like 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago. I don't even know.
Really early, really recently.
So I don't see Langan, so we're gonna go.
I'm here.
All right, Lang, give me your number 1 album of the year.
Hold on a second, dude. My number 1 is Enslaved Guard. They came out with a new record in October. One of my favorite songs of the year, Homebound, is on it. They are, to me, the state-of-the-art metal band right now. They started out a complete black metal band. They've evolved over time. Completely beautiful, progressive, like career progression, basically. Adding little things without changing the original sound too much. There's still black metal in it. There's death metal in it. There's some thrash metal in it. There's a lot of progression, clean and heavy vocals. I think they are the state-of-the-art metal band for me right now. Every time they put out an album, they stay true to themselves, but add a little element of something different. And they are by far my favorite metal rock album of the year.
You look like the bass player, kind of.
What's that?
You look like the bass player, kind of. You could be in the band, kind of.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Depends how much conditioner you use in that hair. I can't tell.
Yo,
I use
gotta
none.
call you out on something, man. You're like, I don't know, I've been listening to a lot of synthwave, and you didn't mention one synthwave.
No, you know what it is, man? With that genre, I was posting stuff on the Facebook group, but there's not a lot of identity with the album or the artist for me. There's so many people putting out like good music in that genre, but I don't have like this definitive album to give you.
Okay, all right.
It's like to put it in this list, not to mention I'd be the only one participating in it.
Hey, we got Jake in the house. He's just gonna hang out because he's gonna do the next the last bit of it, which is the hip hop records of the year. So Jake, just hang out for a bit. We could see you. So I think he just left us. I don't know why. But Langan, Parker, give me your number one album of the year.
Just 3 quick honorable mentions. I just wanted to say that band Zombie released a new album. That Ken Andrews solo album that came out is really good. And Cadaver, this band Cadaver, which for fans of like early grindy stuff, it sounds like earlier Carcass, like pre-Heartwork. So those are 3 honorable mentions. But lo and behold, number 1, what a surprise, Deftones. What a shocker, right? So ninth studio album, Terry Date back behind it. That's probably why I think he's one of the fucking best producers. That guy came out 4 years after Gore. Gore to me was kind of like the Deftones self-titled. Like it was just kind of like there for me. Like it wasn't great, it wasn't bad, it was just there. Like I took it. Stephen Carpenter uses a fucking 9-string on this, which I guess the fucking 8-string wasn't enough for the fucking guy. But I dug it. I think the Terry Date has a lot to do with this band's sound. That's why I always loved when he worked with Pantera. I thought it was the same thing with Pantera. Like it's just one of those producers that just fucking pushes a band to greatness.
Very cool. Yeah, I love the record. It's definitely better. I like it more than Gore. But yeah, it's great. They have such an interesting sound. It's just like it's not for everyone. It's very like dreamy and sometimes it makes you seasick just listening to those weird riffs. But they have really continued to make really interesting records. So.
What do you guys think about the White Pony re-release with the remixes on there? Anything?
I don't think any. Yeah, I didn't really listen to it. I don't.
I was disappointed with Robert Smith's. Did really nothing to it.
Yeah.
I was like, Robert Smith and the Deftones? Holy shit.
Busy guy. Couldn't really do anything with it. So
nothing.
My number one album of the year. I'm going to go Ways Away. Self-titled. It's Sergey from Sam I Am playing guitar. This other dude from a band called Stick to Your Guns. I heard this record and I'm like, from beginning to end, on top of the fact that they do a Beach House cover, which is amazing that they would take Beach House.
Love Beach House.
Yeah. Yeah, right? I'll send you the song. It's really good. This whole record is one of those records that, when I hear my band, I liken it to that sound. So that's my universe. So I heard this record. I'm like, man, I wish I wrote all these songs because they're so fucking good, man. Roam with a Ghost, probably the song that I listened to the most this year. Really, really fantastic record. I fucking love it. God damn, such a great record. That's my number one. All right. Thanks for playing.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, Neil, for playing along with us. I wonder if this is going to shut off on us.
What's that?
I guess it's going to keep going. I don't know. This is my first Zoom.
Zoom?
I set it for a certain hour. Everyone still here?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, Jake, we're going to do a hip-hop thing. I know that it's been fucking forever. Parker, don't feel like you need to stay if you want to go. If you want to hang, then let's hang. Neil, if you want to hang and listen to our hip-hop picks or say goodbye. All right, cool.
I'm going to eat dinner with my wife. She's the best.
Cool.
I second that. I think I'm going to bail out because, I could name fucking like Crisscross and fucking TLC till I'm blue in the face, but.
All right. That's fine. So, Parker, good seeing you.
You
Neil,
guys,
seeing
take care. Neil, feel better, man.
Have a good rest of your show.
All right.
Hey, brother.
What's up, Jake?
Everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, my first Zoom, so you're gonna bear with me.
I mean, I think it's kind of our first too.
Is it really?
Kinda.
All right. All
Well,
right.
I
It's
did.
always better
This
to deal
scale.
with other virgins.
I did an RA one, but it was different because it was just me and him, and it was like this is like the first one that we're really pushing. So let's talk, man. Favorite hip hop records of the year. Jake is a returning guest. We did the Halloween episode.
Boom.
Right. Yeah. You want to do another like 3-4 hours on that right now, real quick, or you want to just go right to the hip hop stuff?
Yo, fuck it. Yeah, you want to? Yo, people love that that episode. You know, they're like, holy shit, that guy really went deep on a lot of that stuff. So that's
I mean, yeah, it was a blast. Honestly, it felt like I lost like 80 pounds of mental fat.
Yeah,
just
you got
like working through that with you, man.
you
It
got
was
it off
great.
your chest.
Yeah, it was great.
That's Brian Langan up there. That's
What up?
Jake.
Hi, Brian. Nice to
What's
meet
happening,
you.
man?
So, man, this is probably the toughest because there were so many hip hop records that came out this year, and it was very hard to make this list.
Impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble too.
This year was so stupid loaded. It's hard to believe. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, every week I was getting something that, and people doing like 8 million features,
Yeah.
producers putting out like 3, 4,
Muggs.
5 albums.
Muggs
Oh,
just
dude,
put out a record
yeah.
I didn't get a chance to listen to, and I
It's
heard the
so
first
good.
song, and I was like, "This song's amazing!" And I guarantee
It's so good.
Yeah.
But you know what? You missed the cutoff, Muggs.
yeah, we.
Enough's enough.
So we're gonna give our 10 favorite hip hop records of the year. First, we're gonna do 10 through 6 rapid fire, and then we'll do a round robin. So, Jake,
I like this. I feel like I need to stretch first.
give me your 10 through 6.
All right, just blazing through it. Number
Yeah.
10 is Clipping.
I love it.
Visions of Bodies Being Burned.
Yo, you
Like
said
the fucking millennial gravediggers, man. Like, what, like, I
So
put
good.
that record on and it has like Aphex Twin vibes and TV on the Radio vibes. And dude is a talented fucking lyricist. Like,
Yeah.
he's a little too clean of a rapper for me, but he's got that, like, what's his name, Saul Williams energy, where there's a lot of like just really rhythmic, just like rapid fire, awesome shit to say, and I fucking loved it.
so it just missed my honorable, my 10 through 6. But you sent me a song, and from there I dove into that record. Great call on the Soul Williams, because it is, and his rhyme pattern. There's a song on there, I forget the name of it, but it was just like, it was like Black Thought level good. Like, it was just
Yeah.
like, holy shit.
And that they committed to the horror theme,
Yeah.
like all throughout, and like, I mean, it was sorely needed, some like big thematic gesture from like a new artist or like a new group, and that refrain from that song that I send you, just that visions of bodies being burned.
Yeah.
That's like one of those new refrains that's just like in my fucking head constantly. Like,
So good. Yeah.
so good.
That was a great clip. So give
good.
it 9.
all right, 9, New Beginnings from Reason. You guys up on Reason?
No.
I don't know much about him. I never listened to him before this year, and I also haven't given like his back catalog any shrift since this. But yeah, it's like I'm sure you guys like have seen this as like a big year for like that kind of New York hip hop style, that kind of even like dare to say throwback style.
Sure.
And this guy like was really up on that. Some powerful lyrics. The album is a little spotty, like that's why it's all the way down at number 9. But the good tracks are fucking great. Like, they're really easy to fucking go through.
All right. And
Number-
what I told everyone too is, like, after we're done, just send me over the 10, because then I'm gonna make a playlist out of it to attach it to the episode.
Nice.
So number 8.
Yeah, number 8. I mean, I'm embarrassed to say this in public, but like, we're past the age of guilty pleasures. Like, I like what I like. And man, Young Lean put out another charming record this year.
Okay.
Like, little fucking Swedish weirdo. There was like this battle of the Caucasians going on in my mind, where it's like, is it going to be Static? Is it going to be the Streets put out a new record? I love Skinner. Like,
Oh
Streets
yeah.
has been out of the game for forever and put out a good record. But like as with every Young Lean thing I put on, I'm like, all right, man, he's a crummy, dumbass rapper. like he's like the Scandinavian equivalent of like some surfer beach bum, just kind of dude. And it's just inimitably charming. Like he just charms me with every release. You know, he's like the fucking godfather of the mumbly SoundCloud rapper. So we have him to blame for that bullshit.
But sometimes those people, you know, certain people make records of that side of the world. That's how I came across like A$AP Rocky. Like the first two A$AP Rocky records was so good, and it was just something that I would not normally listen to, and it eased me into like that newer modern sound, and I'm like, okay, this is good. And some of those dudes just they're not going to hit you with the lyricism, but they're going to hit you with these songs and some of these lines, and you're like, oh, I like this. And you could put that on in the background, and it's still like that the 808s like hit hard. And
sometimes not to sound like a millennial, but it's a vibe. It's like a big time. They achieve a vibe. Like it's got that Clams Casino kind of sad ambient. Like, but their whole thing really fits together, you know. It's not like there's a rapper and a producer. Like they've got one vibe. Number 7, Denzel Curry and Kenny Beats Unlocked EP. Just another like blast of fucking great semi old school sounding, but like very modernized hip hop. Like Kenny Beats, I don't know much about. He's a DJ, but Denzel Curry, I've been a fan of for a little while. He's a fucking great rapper. I think he's like a Florida dude. He does a lot of, you know, bouncing around genre-wise, but not like in those huge, like he's not going from like trap to like, you know, pop or anything. He's not doing like a Tyler thing.
No, but
he's got a lot of variation in how he does his raps.
He's great. He's great flow, great lyricism. And what I love about him that helps his career is that he will occasionally do like he did the Rage Against the Machine cover. He did the Bad Brains cover. So it's almost like people who might not give him a chance might be like, who is this kid? And then they listen to his music and it's like, oh, this is cool. So he's a rapper, but on the internet, he'll like cover fucking The Big Takeover or whatever the fuck he did of Bad Brains. Like, this is really good. It sounds like
he pulled that same kind of thing like you were saying before, like you guys were saying before. Like he just dropped a bunch of great features across a bunch of different rappers who didn't necessarily sound alike. And he proved he can really just go with it on any kind of style. And this EP has this very frenetic, like anime cartoon fucking energy. It's like listening to some Dragon Ball shit. And it's a lot of like repeating the same kind of lines over and over again, and kind of is almost hypnotic in that way. And when I first heard it, it was on repeat for like 6 weeks. And then we get to number 6. This is a record that he actually guested on, the JPEG Mafia EP, or EP. It's called EP exclamation point. I don't know how he wants it to be said. Just like Childish Gambino energy, like Earl energy. I love seeing like not, you know, I don't know how old he is, but like young in the business dudes like really playing with a lot of different shit. There's like this very smooth R&B thing going on, but it's really chopped up. You can like listen to the beginning of one song and the end of it, and it's like you can't believe it's the same song. It's a very innovative, unique kind of energy.
Our guitar player, our guitar player Rich really likes JPEG Mafia, so he like put me up on them. Because is it the dude from the Death Grips?
I don't know. I know a little of his background as a person, but I don't know what.
I forget. He's from a group and he does this thing, and it's just fucking energy, and it's like it's almost like when you hear the evolution of what's next for music. Like I feel like they're in the forefront, like a group like Clipping, like JPEG Mafia, where it's just like, wow, you guys are doing something that's kind of like ahead of everyone, and maybe in 5 years everyone will be like, oh, this is what it was, and they'll be looked at for sure. I think but great energy for sure.
That's right on, definitely.
Langan, 10 through 6.
Yeah, I'm still like agonizing over this. I'm just gonna spit out a bunch of shit that didn't make my top 5.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna give it that.
It's gonna feel good.
Everything your old Drew put out this year. I'm making my top 5, but I put in work. All of them. I think it was 3 records. I think.
Well, funny enough, they were 2019.
Were they?
Yeah,
All
it's
of
just,
them?
the last one, Jewelry, came out like right before 2020.
All right,
The
then fuck it.
Jewelry, and then the new one, which is like his he said it's his he said he would always try to like avoid his maybe he's from Kazakhstan or like
Yeah, something like that.
yeah, so he said that he was always trying to run away from like that part of his life, but he said now he embraces it, and it's like that's why like on YouTube it says listen to my Jew tape or something. Very funny, but
Gotcha.
he's great. Yeah.
All right, so I gotta shout out Pete Rock, 80 Blocks from Tiffany with Camp Low, who I love. Camp Low. Camp Low's first record is still one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time. I loved hearing them again. Everything West Side Gun put out this year, everything Conway the Machine put out this year. KAAN, I believe it's all an acronym. He did an album called Lost in Translation with Blue the Head Monk or whatever, but it was really solid. Stu Bangers with Blackistan, Watson and Holmes was another one. 3 Watson and Holmes 3. A double dip for UFO Fev and Static Selector, Fresh Air. And I also got a shout out Static Selector with CJ Fly, Rude Boy album.
That was fucking great.
So good.
Yeah.
That was earlier in the year. I don't
Really
remember
good.
exactly, but like I forgot about it. There was so much good hip hop, and I'm like listening to this stuff. I'm like, oh my god, this is such a good record.
Yeah.
I also got a shout out Guerrilla Twins.
Yeah.
That crew had a bananas year. They'll be making other appearances in my mentions, but I think that about covers me. I think. Let me see. Let me make sure. Oh, and I got a shout out 38 Special, who had about 658 features, I think, this year. 2 of his efforts, 1,000 Words and Community Services. Outstanding.
Okay. Yeah, Buffalo, right? I think he's like a Buffalo guy.
Yo, there's so much. The only regret I have of 2020 is that I can't make the machine gun sound with my mouth. That seems to be so. Yeah, I can't do it right. I'm gonna try it, but it seems to be very
French
popular.
accent. You
But
just
yeah,
gotta flick your tongue.
that area is on fire right now. It's ridiculous.
Well, just like anything, once somebody gets put on, if you're cool, and if you're cool, you're just gonna put a spotlight on your area. It's like that's what it is. It's like. And those guys seem to all kind of like work together, and it's I as a matter of fact, I'll get to, so I'm gonna do my 10 through 6 now, right?
Yeah.
I have number 10. Let me see, somebody from that area. It's Apollo Brown is from Detroit, but he put out a record with Shay Noir, who's from Buffalo, and it's as God Intended. I sent it to you, Jake. The beats on that are great. So Apollo Brown is just one of the best producers. It's just amazing. His sampling game is amazing. He has such a like old school RZA feel to him, and it's this record's dark. Shay Noir goes through like a lot of these like lyrical, just like landscapes, like these pictures. Man, there's some like really heavy songs on this. So
She's
number
so
9.
Good.
Yeah,
she's so good.
She's so good. She's so fucking good from Buffalo.
Amazing. Yeah.
So number 9, I have
very Nas like feel the way she paints a picture.
Great picture. Number 9, I have the new Busta Rhymes record.
Dude.
I can't believe how good it is.
Crazy.
Hip hop's Chinese democracy, man. Like, only this one fucking worked.
Yeah, I was gonna say this one might be a little bit better. So he gets. The production on it is what. First of all, I see a record with 22 songs. I automatically get annoyed because I'm like,
10 of them are probably skits.
Yeah, nah, I wish. But so he has Old Dirty Bastard on it, but it's just a sample, but it works. He has Belle Biv DeVoe on it. A lot of these, like, I mean, the features are amazing. He has Rhapsody on it, MOP. But the
that Belle Biv DeVoe track, if I was still DJing, that song is like midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Banger.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's
Drunk
when
girls be breaking their high heels on that one.
yeah.
For real.
That's when the
For real.
coke. That's when the coke kicks in for sure.
Comes out, yeah.
But that record, what really makes it work is the production. The production sounds so good. The modern stuff sounds modern, but man, the throwback stuff really works. It doesn't sound dated. It's just such like every song I'm listening to, and I'm like, yo, this is another good song on this record. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Number 8, Conway, From King to a God.
Oh,
This is probably my favorite Conway release. He did try different like musical landscapes on it, and I think he landed on them. But what I love about I'm going to throw West Side Gun in, so that's number 7. So I'll talk about these guys. Man,
so good.
what I love about so it's the last one, Who Made the Sunshine, which I feel is the best of the 3 that came out. What I love
That's
about
West Side Gun, right?
yeah, what I love about
Yeah.
these guys is that they somehow reached popularity with fucking goon rap. There's no like, they didn't change. This is like when Wu-Tang appealed to the masses. I'm like, people love Griselda, and I'm thinking like, this is just like the beats are just so dirty, like the Derringer sound, the Alchemist sound, and it's like people ran like if you're listening to this, you're listening to hip hop. You're not listening to like even the Busta stuff has like pop. It has a pop appeal to it.
You know what it is with that sound too? Like I noticed that with these cats, crime apple, certain things. The actual boom bap isn't present sometimes. It's like the lyrics are dictating the beat. The song is very like it doesn't have a boom bap or a bass
No,
or a
it's
Yeah,
not.
totally.
It's atmosphere.
I noticed that throughout some of like the upstate stuff. Like perhaps that's like a style choice. There's a couple of records that I heard from
yeah.
like not even Griselda affiliated, but still upstate dudes. Where it's like there's some of them don't even have a drum track. Like there's
There
just
was
some
no
really
kick snare,
splashy
hi hat.
melody. And
pattern.
they're doing
Yeah.
they dictate the rhythm with their voice.
But yeah, I love that. I love that thing that they didn't really conform. They just put out these records that somehow just connected with enough people. And my number 6, my 10 through 6 here is Ill Bill, La Bella Medusa. This is the best Ill Bill record in a little bit. Great features on it. He has a song called Chrissy Snow with Cool G Rap. A lot of great features on it. Crime Apple's on there. Lord Goat, obviously. The beats on there are great. Just a really, really good Ill Bill record. So then that brings us to our 5. So Jake, kick it off with number 5 hip hop record of 2020.
Top 5. I just looked at my list, and the record I was referencing just now in talking about Griselda is the example I was using. This dude from Syracuse, So God Cooks, Reasonable Drought, my favorite album title of the
That's
year,
a good one.
definitely. And just like dude had done like some special guest spots over the years under different names. Like this is his first proper record. He did it with Rock Marciano instead of doing like a bunch of, like debut album kind of thing where you have multiple hot producers. Like they just hit on a vibe together. And Marciano's like, dude, I'm just going to do the whole record. And he's like, yeah, you get it. Like, you get me. Like, this guy, Stove God, had been, I guess, coming up long enough, couldn't really find a fit for himself. And this record fucking cooks, man. It's got that old school New York energy, but it's also like, he's got a really interesting rhythm. And again, best album title of the year.
I love that album title. Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it. Let me see.
I think you would dig it. Like, I know that's the death knell of recommending anything to anybody. Like, if you tell them they're going to like it, they'll just never listen to it ever. But I think you in particular might dig it. It's got that, like, it fits in with the Griselda thing, which got that old kind of throwback vibe to it. I think you might really get it.
Yeah, I didn't know. I knew he did that. I didn't know that Rock Marcy was a part of it.
Yeah, just every track.
So he has a really interesting flow that I feel like a lot of people kind of adapted to and borrowed because he's known, but he's not that well known. Like you hear him.
Yeah, he's like a behind the scenes dude. Like, your favorite rappers will reference him kind of thing,
For sure. And like the record he put out with Bugs, like the shit I'm on, like you hear that beat and it's just like, man, It's so good. Yeah, I got to check that out.
Yeah, it's a really interesting rhythm, really interesting voice. It's innovative while still being like deeply rooted in like, you know, the hip hop of his scene and the era that he's influenced by. I really responded to it.
Cool. Langan, give me your number 5.
Aesop Rock's Spirit World Field Guide.
I didn't listen to that yet.
Dude, it's so hard this year. There's so much stuff coming out. It's like, you know, I love Aesop Rock. Not everyone will.
He's the Dillinger Escape Plan of hip hop, I said.
Yeah. Who, ironically, I hate Dillinger Escape Plan,
but he's hard listen.
He takes a chance, man. He takes a chance, and his lyrics are indisputable. How good they are. Like, he's just one of a kind. And this album, the beats, you know, it's different. It doesn't sound like anybody else, and that's what I appreciate about him. And I know that like everything he puts out is going to be a little bit different. I know he's doing like film scores now. I believe. I know.
I think so.
Yeah.
I heard the 2 songs that he released, which I really like. I just know that I haven't gotten a chance to really dig into that record, but I do think Impossible Kid, the last record that he put out under Aesop Rock, was his best record. I think that was his masterpiece. So
amazing record. There's a lot of cuts on here. Pizza Alley, Crystal Sword, Boot Soup. There's a bunch of them that I really, really like. But
Long Island guy too.
Yeah, this guy's always going to take a shot, something different.
Shout out to Northport.
This works for me.
He's from Northport. All right, so number 5 for me is the Static Selector record, Balancing Act. This is a guy who is a genius at curating who's going to be on his album, and he makes these beats. Like, to me, like when you think of Premier, he's like on that level. Like I hear Static Selector, I hear that.
Totally agree.
I'm just like, oh, this is going to be like, he's not just going to give his shit to whack people, even if it's someone you don't know. Like he threw this kid Jack Harlow on his record, which I never heard of. And the song is called Time, and it blew me away enough for me to listen to that Jack Harlow record. And I'm like, this kid's really good. The Joey Badass song is amazing on there. Mm-hmm. Man, it's just a list of people who are just crushing. And it's a way that he gets to put together this record and have, you know, he has his friends on there. Yeah, there's one with Sean P on it. I guess, you know, like there's a lot of Sean P verses still out there. I think maybe
the album's loaded, man. It's
loaded.
Yeah, I feel like they call it the Balancing Act because you imagine Static just holding up like 120 guest spots and trying to balance them throughout all the songs that he had. I mean, every
had a busy
track
year.
is like, oof.
Yeah, he had a busy year. And shout out to him too for his Instagram live DJ sets before Instagram cracked down on everybody. All the live DJ sets that were going on. Stretch and Bobbito had a killer one, but Static did a great show weekly that was outstanding. Like great old stuff. Yeah.
He's just a master beat maker. Like he just I can't say enough of that dude. So number 4 album of the year 2020, Jake.
Number 4, I mean, you already got to speak on it, and I'm going to speak on it myself. And Busta Rhymes, man, that ELE2 really, like, you had been hearing about it, like, you know, just little bits and pieces over the years. I mean, he's like, what was it, 11 years between this and his last release, and like somehow not only made it this year, but made it like totally poignant to the year it's being released. And he's part of this like exclusive club of like artists that came back after tons of years with like huge records. Like you'd think if we didn't have a pandemic, we'd have a Busta Rhymes, Fiona Apple hum tour going on. Like like that they all put out these great records. But this one had a really strong intro, but like it was more about theatrics. It was more about him showing like, you know, I'm still this good at rapping. But then you get like 4 or 5 songs in, and that's when I noticed that it was like 22 tracks long. And there's a certain point on the record, I don't remember, you know, I don't have the track listing in front of me, where it's like it takes off and it just keeps escalating, and you're like, man, 5 songs in a row. These have all been great. Oh, the
Yeah.
next one can't be amazing too. And it just like steamrolled with quality. And what I love especially is how often he puts a talented guest spot on first. Like he has that Kendrick Lamar single, which is maybe single of the year. Like I love that song so much. He puts Kendrick on first, which is like, that's a bold move. Like, yeah, you go ahead, do your thing, and then he comes out afterwards and it's like, yeah, like let's remember who Busta Rhymes is.
Yeah.
And he reminded us on this record more so than even his, 2000s releases.
It just, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better record. And like you said,
I think it's his best record.
Same thing. You're lit. Like I put it on. I'm driving. I'm like, by the 6th or 7th song, I'm like, it's fucking great. I'm like, what's going on?
And he's managed to get better at rapping too. Like, holy shit, this guy's like fucking. He's like the John Coltrane of fucking rap rhythm.
Yeah. I love to see Q-Tip was on the record too, so that was cool.
Their track was great together.
Number 4, Langan.
Vinny Paz, As Above, So Below.
Was that this
everything?
Year?
Yeah, 2020.
Wow, I missed that one.
It was a long year, man.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Everything Paz he puts out, I'm all about. I love. You talk about my favorite voices, like in hip hop and history. Like a Q-Tip or a Guru that has a certain thing to their voice sound, the timbre of it, not just the rhymes he's spitting, which are ridiculous. But I love the way Pazzi spits. I love the gruffness, and there's some real it's not all thug shit. It's there's a song "Spilled Milk" on there about losing his father.
Yeah, that's a big thing for him.
Yeah, there's some real intimate stuff on there, and it reminds me of another album that came out this year that I know Sam is going to speak on, so I ain't going to even step on that, but I'll jump in when he mentions it. I know he's going to. But anyway, I love Pazzi. He's one of those guys like Apathy or whatever they put something out, I'm just there. It's just right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. And
consistent.
Yeah, I love him. I love him.
It's funny that you mentioned the death of his father, because like when we were talking about the Irishman, so his connection to that story was like I think he said that guy who's the Irishman. His name is like the guy that De Niro played, but like he supposedly killed Vinny Paz's dad.
Oh shit!
Whoa!
Yeah, I forget the story, but he gave this. I
thought it was cancer. The way this song sounds.
No, this is like
he's got sick in the hospital and he wouldn't stop smoking his Winstons on the song.
Yeah, no. I you know what? I got to pull that up, and maybe it was his uncle.
Jamie, pull that up, young Jamie.
Yeah, young Jamie. But it was like he has a connection to the Irishman story.
Oh shit!
He made this like long fucking post about like, everyone's asking me like how I feel about the Irishman and this and whatever that guy. And I was just, man, it's really. I'll find the article and I'll or the post and I'll send it to you.
I know.
So number 4 for me is Crime Apple.
Boom.
If I Don't See You in Paradise.
He put out 2 things this year, right?
Put out 2 things. This one I think I like the most.
Okay.
We like Jake and I were like we were all talking. This is another guy who doesn't really rap to like kicks and snares like he used to. There's some stuff like he has a record with Ghost LTD that fucking is all that.
That guy had a bananas year too, man.
He did too. But like even last year, Crime Apple put out that Medallo album with DJ Muggs.
Word. And
now this one, it's just these weird it's like audio landscapes.
Yeah.
And he's becoming my favorite lyricist. Because if you follow Crime Apple and also being like bilingual, like when he kicks it to that bilingual stuff, I get it. And plus he's Colombian, I'm Colombian. So it's just, you pick up like that dialect a little bit and I just jump into it more. But his rhyme schemes are just, he's almost like a Doom now. Like you just follow the rhyme.
High praise.
Right.
Oh man. Have you heard a lot of Crime Apple yet, Jake?
No, I'm riveted by hearing about this.
I'll send you.
I'm going to have somebody to listen to after
it's
this.
Just
it sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Look him up. You can't go wrong. Whatever
Yeah.
you hit play on.
That sounds great.
oh, it's so good. So yeah, he's my number 4 album of the year. So number 3, Jake.
Number 3 is Meek Volume 6 from Knowledge. You guys have been following these Meek EPs that Knowledge has been
No.
putting out?
No.
So this
No.
is the 6th one. I think he put out 5th, Volume 5 and 6 this year. Knowledge being known for just the amount of content this dude puts out. Like, that might have been his first notice, was that he just, like, Frank Zappa levels of content, like just tons of shit. And I don't know much about where the source of these rhymes are from, but apparently there's like a back catalog of like very demo-y Meek Mill verses, just like little freestyles. Some of them are like 2 minutes long. Some of them are just, studio stuff that didn't go anywhere.
So he's like guided by voices.
And that's exactly, like, I'm so glad you said that, because I'm like, even when I was in bands, I was like the demo-itis guy. Like, I just like the demos of everything, and this has a real demo-y vibe. It's just like he cuts up these verses that are, sound like they were recorded on a freaking Talkboy half the time, and he just puts these very melodic, like his signature kind of fuzzy R&B melody-driven beats behind these freestyle raps, and it's like you can see the Scotch tape holding them together, and it spoke right to me. Like, that's exactly like the kind of vibe that I just love so much. And I didn't listen to Volume 5 quite as much as Volume 6, and Volume 6 had just every fucking track is great. There's even like there's a track 3, Same Old Me, could be a radio single. It's so good.
Okay, cool. I gotta check that out.
Yeah,
Philly in the house. Langan, give me your number 3.
You mentioned it before, Sam, on your honorable mentions. Ill Bill's La Bella Medusa.
Yeah.
Man,
It's a
listen,
good-
I'm all about that goon shit.
Yeah, me
I
too.
love it. I don't care how fucked up 2020 was.
Yeah.
Give me that, like, talk about the 4 pounds in your waist, whatever the fuck. I love it.
I'm as ignorant as they come.
I love it. I can't get enough of it. But I mean, it's so good, and cameos from Lord Goat, Cool G Rap. I mean, one of the most underrated MCs in history. Conway the Machine's on there. Vinny Paz. I don't even know where to start. It is the best Ill Bill album
Yeah.
history, in my opinion.
Sure.
It's great. It's if you like goon shit.
Yeah.
It's right there.
The beats on it too. Like very like sinister
Ridiculous.
sounding. Yeah.
Ridiculous. That's what sells me. Yeah.
All right. So my number 3 is Run the Jewels 4.
3. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Now I know where you're going, though. I know where
Oh,
exactly
Run the
where
Jewels
you're
put an
going.
album out this year? I didn't hear about it, really?
Real low key. Real low key.
Yeah, I didn't even notice. Way under the radar, guys.
Right. Yeah. We're trying to get them a little shine on this show.
Yeah,
That's good of you, man. It's very charitable.
Selling out of the trunk of their car right now.
I'd have to tag them on
struggling.
Instagram. See, what we got. But okay, so this might be the best Run the Jewels record.
I think I might agree with you.
Might agree.
might-
And I got to chime in. It's my number 2, so I'm just going to jump in here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember just hearing Yankee and the Brave, and I was like, whoa, like just like, man, like just Killer Mike is not many MCs better than him on those last 4. Like, he's just like, he will take your fucking head off on a song.
Killer Mike is right now is Chuck D.
Yeah.
He's got, he's got his voice on the streets.
Yeah.
He's got the political thing.
And
He
he's not
backs it up. It's not just words. Like, he's active as hell.
And he's so smart.
Brilliant.
Like, he's
So smart.
Fucking smart. Like, just like, I feel like an idiot when I'm like, wow, maybe I'm an idiot.
And LP is just production wise is just untouchable right now.
Talk about peaking.
Great MC, but man, on this record, as far as production, like Ooh La La, single of the year.
Song of the year.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
hands down. I don't even got to think about it.
You hear that fucking, like that Gangstar sample.
Oh,
You know, I'm just like, what the fuck? And you hear like the piano, like at first you hear Yankee and the Brave. You're like, how's it gonna get any better than this? And then that minor chord comes in, and then that beat. I'm like, what the? I'm like, this is it. It's already on its way, and it blew 3 away. And I think 1 is the.
Yeah, listen, pound for pound, we have to accept that this is one of the greatest hip hop groups of all time. They made 4 perfect albums,
which was
they're right up there.
Which is the goal. That's what they wanted to do. You know, they said
they're right up there.
Yeah, and these are 2 guys who've been at it like in their own ways for such a long time, and
100%.
to see them find each other from like all these sides of the hip hop world and continue to bring the best out of each other. It's just like, it's what real partnership is about. You see, like when they're performing, like they're, you know, hive mind, man. They've really achieved something special.
And even aside of the hip hop aspect of them, they are like the most punk group right now too. I mean, there's an element of it that they don't really, abide by any like standards of hip hop that they need to. They go off the wall, like in every kind of lyrically, and their beats are different than everybody else. Like they're kind of some punk about them.
And the live performance too, like seeing them live on the second record at the Highline Ballroom, it was like watching a punk show. Yeah, it was like watching a punk show. So for 70 minutes, the crowd it was like watching Idols. Like when I saw Idols, I was like, okay, these guys have this whole crowd in a frenzy. Same thing watching Run the Jewels in this like tiny place. I'm like, it was just 70 minutes of energy. And just, man.
Yeah, their songs are aggro, man. Like they are really just like.
And they're the only group that can get lazy ass Zach De La Rocha to get off his ass. That's the music.
That is true.
And that song is punk as hell too. Look at all these slave masters posing on your dollars.
Oh, right? Look at all these slave masters posing on your dollar. That's a hard line. That's a hard fucking. And Zach would go to LP's house when Rage broke up.
Yes.
Because he wanted LP to like make a record with him, and which never happened.
That guy don't do nothing, man.
Like, what does he do?
That was like the thing after Rage broke up was like, oh, Zach's gonna put out a hip hop record that just never materialized. I didn't know he was trying to do that with LP.
Like his Rage money.
Those checks from like music and the killing in the name of like from like music beds on radio must be killing it.
You get that mailbox money. So all right, so that's my number 3. So what's your number 3, Langan?
Well, I went before you.
Oh, so you're.
That was your number 3, and I know what your number 2, and I know what your number 1 is.
Okay. So Jake, your number 2.
Number 2, Alfredo.
Okay.
Gibbs and the Alchemist, man. This is like, to even put it at number 2 feels weird. Last year, my Bandana was my number 1. The year before that, Fetty was my number 1, and Freddie was up in the top 10 as well. Gibbs is so consistent. He is so. It's like watching Les Claypool play bass. It's like, man, this guy, like, did he make a deal with the devil to just be able to just fling this shit out there? And The Alchemist has been really active with a lot of different, artists and stuff. So to see them come back to the Fetty formula where it's just the 2 of them and whatever guests they were going to have. I mean, 1985, that opening track is such a fucking ripper introduction. And it continues his consistent stride of top level quality. And dude has the best IG stories.
He does have the best IG stories.
The best.
But that Benny track is my favorite. I thought that Benny feature, that song is really, really good. And also like a Grammy nominated.
Well deserved, man. Like he's putting out just incredible stuff. I'm glad to see him get any kind of recognition. I mean, what's the Grammy worth these days anyway?
I don't know, nothing really.
$150.
Fucking Grammy. So that was your number 2. So Lang,
number 2.
You already gave your number 2.
All right. So my number 2 was Run the Jewels 4. Okay. Now my number 1 is going to be Sam's number 2.
Okay.
So how do we do this?
All right.
I already know it.
So then I'll
This
do.
romance is beautiful,
I'm
guys.
guessing.
I'm feeling feelings right now watching you guys.
Oh no, I know it has to be then. So all right, so I'll do my number 2, which is Lord Goat. Final Expenses. Is that your number 1?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah.
Now we knew it.
Our buddy Mitchell, aka Gore-Tex, aka Lord Goat, friend of the show. You know, was on the Slayer episode, was on the Maiden episode. Put out a record with Stu Bangers this year, and Stu, in their style, Ill Bill and Gore-Tex, Lord Goat's style, work so well together because his beats sound like just these like little loops.
Sinister.
They're like loops from like horror movies or something.
Oh,
It's just so like it's.
Yo, you know what? You know when you're scratching your dog, and they're just so into it, like their leg is shaking.
Yeah, their leg's shaking. Yeah,
hitting that. That's what Stu Bangers and Goat did for me. This record.
This record hit everything. This is exactly the record that I wanted him to make, and I'm glad he did. The features were great.
Oh my God.
Penny Paz, Apathy, but like his lyrical content, like I told him, John Stamos was like my favorite song on the record. I
know, dude.
Right?
Hit for an old New York head. Like he hits all the old references you'd be hearing on like Channel 9 and Channel 11 news from when you was a kid. Like it's just.
I tell him his style is like turning like the channel in like 1989 because the shit he says, like he'll talk about Tawana Brawley, then he'll talk about like Lee.
I'm waiting for Lloyd Lindsay Young to come on and have the weather report. For real.
Yo, for real.
What I'm saying?
Yeah. Maybe, because he was like, oh, not a lot of people get the shit that I say. And I'm like, yeah, but the people that do fucking
really appreciate it.
And I told him, because he explained to me the John Stamos thing, because his friend used to blow, his friend's mom used to blow Lee Mazzilli. So he mentioned it in a song. And he was like, yeah, it was like this old friend of mine. And he said that his friend hit him up at like 3 a.m. one day, and he saw the message after the record came out, and he's like, oh boy, here we go.
Just the name Lee Mazzilli makes me laugh.
I was about to say the same thing. I don't know who that is. I just heard, hey, he's over there blowing Lee Mazzilli.
Oh, he's his old Met player.
Yeah, he's
an old Met outfielder or something.
No, I think he might have been first base Met player.
Yeah, I don't mean to be stepping on your number 2 because it's number 1, but I'm just so gassed up on it. Because when Run the Jewels came out, I'm like, that's the best album I'm gonna hear this year. And then when Go put out this album, I was like, oh my God, I got a new number 1 right here. But like, I'm just so happy for him because it's a perfect record. It's so good.
It's completely gutter and it's true to his form. But cool. So I have my number 1 left. Jake, give me your number 1 album, hip hop album of the year.
I don't know if you guys went through this at all making your lists, but I agree with both of you that there was just so much to consider. Yeah. So the last, ever since you invited me to be on, and thank you, it's again a blast, just like last time. I really wanted to give all of the contenders like a proper listen, like the ones that I listened to a million times. I wanted to listen again.
Yep.
The ones that were left on deck, I wanted to bring up and check out. And what it did was it didn't really show me I knew what my favorites were, but I had to place the order a lot. And I kind of surprised myself with number 1, but no album this year screamed instant classic to me like Conway the Machine from King to a God, man. That's my number 1. Like I traditionally liked Benny's records, West Side Gun's records better. Even some of the Griselda adjacents like Stash Lo Mein and whatnot. But it's just so grimy, so dark.
Yeah.
Everything about it. I'm speechless because it's so traditional.
Come on, Lemon with
traditional. It's so traditional, but it's so new sounding. It's just like you hear it, and I'm just like, oh, this is a perfect record. This is spotless. This is every moment is not wasted. Just when you feel like one vibe is lasting for too many songs, he'll throw in like something. He'll pick up the pace or he'll slow it down. It's just everything about this record was perfectly executed.
It's his best record, I think.
Definitely,
It's his
100.
best record.
It puts him at a whole new level for me.
Yeah.
Like
It's so good, and also I got to mention too, like last week they put out a deluxe version of that album with an extra 5 tracks on it. Did you guys catch that?
No, I did not.
Yeah,
Really
and a couple.
looking forward to that.
There's some real good shit on there. There's a track Raw Oysters in particular that's phenomenal. But yeah, there's 5 other songs. Last week it came out. Last Friday I got
he
it
put
in my
out
feed.
another
I'm
album
like,
this year too?
well, he did No One Mourns the Wicked, and then that album Lulu with the Alchemist.
Lulu, that's the one I remember. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
he was
that's a
busy.
lot
It
of
felt like all
time
those
for him.
cats, you know?
Yeah, upstate New York, man.
Ridiculous.
Who knew?
They got nothing going on but the snow, you know?
That's
Make
true.
it easy.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
you're
cold.
cold up. So that brings me to my number 1. We had him on as a guest, and it was a white whale guest for me. But the R.A. the Rugged Man record, Hero, All My Heroes Are Dead. From beginning to end, somehow, I mean, the last record, Legends Never Die, was one of the best hip-hop records I ever heard in my life. And somehow he managed to top that. Everything that he did on it, the hooks were so smart. Just everything, like every song on this, like, is just so fucking mind-blowingly good. I can't even understand how he put together this record. But it's just a goddamn fucking masterpiece.
Great features on it too, man.
Great features.
Inspected Deck, that track with Inspected Deck with Ed Koch.
NY, yeah, you can't. Ed Koch, New York. The song Wonderin', which was great because it's like, here you are taking this production chance with like a guitar kind of like loop with a singer, but then the lyrical content was so heavy about like an OD, also about a rape, all these things that like, and that's what he shot the video for. That I was at with James, Bill Paxton's son. I was like, holy shit, Bill Paxton's son. Just very.
There's a lot of deep stuff, very personal stuff on this record. It's really his best like complete work as an album, like in his career.
Yeah,
and that track with Afro, that track with Afro, I mean, the rhymes on that, how fast.
How
fast.
It's like when like Steve Vai decides to do like a solo, like certain things are like that.
Remember when Eminem did that track with Logic?
Yeah,
and it was ridiculous. And it was like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm like, oh my god,
it's a flex.
It's not even
track.
human.
It's a flex.
Not even human.
It's a flex track for sure. It's like one of those things. It's like a guitar solo. It's like, all right, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play Eruption.
Yeah.
But cool, man. So, man, what a long show.
I know. We've been here for 4 hours.
It's like a telethon, guys.
It's a telethon. I'm not hating this Zoom thing, so
maybe we should release it in like segments of like
I think
topics.
I think I'm gonna do the movie and the TV portion, and then the music portion.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Some people probably might have no interest in our ramblings on everything.
Yeah. And man, whenever you want to come back, Jake, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been great talking to you guys about hip hop. I don't get enough of it.
Yeah.
And I'll see you for Halloween Kills, Sam.
Oh my God. Yeah, we might have to deep dive that one after we watch it.
Yeah, man. Clear yourself 24 hours.
I have a friend of the show, Rob Link. He went to one of the screenings, like the shit that they fucking put out. Like, it's like, every now and then they'll invite like a handful of people. It's like, oh, yeah, go to this, and you kind of know what it is, but So he saw like the 2.5 hour cut, and he was like, it's amazing. He's like, it's
everything I've heard about it. Much like the first one, every little nugget of info I'm getting about it just sounds like, wow, you guys just know how to make every right decision. Like, I'm really hyped for it.
Okay.
Nice.
I can't wait. Cool. Yo, Jake.
Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
No doubt, man.
Thanks.